Build Expo wrapping up in LA, we're examining the increasing role of climate change in our environment.
We're bringing you coverage straight from the convention and hearing from students who want USC to make changes. See It Live is next. Today is the last day of the Green Build International Expo, where people join together and try to make a greener world. I'm Tommy Brooksbank.
And I'm Tiffany Brevard. Annenberg Media's Kaylee Heck is downtown where the exposition is starting to wrap up. Kaylee.
Do you want me to cue her? It keeps getting really...
Thanks, Tiffany and Tommy. I'm here live at the Microsoft Theater in downtown Los Angeles, where Mayor Eric Garcetti and California's Lieutenant Governor Eric Newsom are speaking at the Green Build International Conference tonight. Mayor Garcetti is expected to talk about his sustainable city plan. Now, that plan includes utilizing renewable energy sources as well as building efficiency standards, all in the name of climate change. Now, I spoke with some conference attendees who say that they focus on sustainable building, but also climate change and how their buildings affect the climate is one of their top priorities. They said they're looking forward to hearing Garcetti talk about that tonight.
I'd love to hear his plan for actually getting to their climate change goals. A lot of cities set really good climate change goals, but they don't have really strong regulations on forcing.
Now tonight's discussion at the Microsoft Theater is all linked to the larger issue of climate change. Let's take a look at some information about this worldwide issue.
There's been a lot of talk in the past several years about climate change. But what is it? Climate change is when the usual climate of a place is different. This could be a difference in how much rain a place gets, or a spike or a drop in temperature that's out of the norm. Scientists say that the Earth's climate is always changing, and right now, it's getting hotter. 1.7 degrees doesn't sound like much, but it's enough of a change to melt some of the world's ice. Besides the heat, scientists also say that the global sea level is rising, and it has been since the 20th century. Experts recommend that you can fly less, drive less, and waste less to minimize your impact on our global climate.
There will be about 600 people here tonight at the Microsoft Theater to hear Mayor Garcetti and other leaders speak on different issues that are important to them. Now, a lot of the people here are engineers, developers, and contractors that all have a hand in making the world a little bit greener for future generations.
All right, thanks, Kaylee. Hurricane Matthew is hitting Florida right now after being upgraded once again to a Category 4 hurricane. Florida Governor Rick Scott has urged residents to evacuate, and earlier today, President Obama issued a state of emergency in Florida and South Carolina. Hurricane Matthew is projected to be one of the most powerful storms to hit the East Coast in more than a decade.
As for the conditions, it's actually not too bad where I am right now. I'm located in Coral Gables, which is just south of the city of Miami, and right now we're in between the outer rain bands of Matthew, so we're not getting much right now. I'm getting a couple of little sprinkles here and there, and a couple of bigger gusts of wind, like this one right here. Sustained winds are around 10 to 15 miles per hour. So the duration of this storm really depends upon landfall, if and when it does make landfall somewhere along the east coast of Florida or the Georgia, South Carolina region. In the scientific community, we are pretty much in agreement that we've seen changes in the Atlantic Basin hurricane season, and we do believe many of these changes are due to human-induced climate change.
Now, locals have been posting their reactions to the hurricane on Twitter. Let's take a look. Piperplex said, heading from the southeast, please be safe, my southern neighbors. Hashtag pray for Florida. And you can see a picture right there. Jonathan Lowther said, here it comes, hashtag Hurricane Matthew. And I like this picture a lot because you can really see the storm coming in. Now, celebrities also shared their thoughts and prayers with the people affected by the hurricane. Let's take a look. Reese Witherspoon said, "My prayers go out to all of those affected by #Hurricane Matthew, praying for their safety." Mark Ruffalo tweeted, "Brothers and sisters of Florida, please be safe." And Rihanna also got a lot of interaction on social media. She said, "My heart absolutely breaks for Haiti. Prayers up for my brothers and sisters who have fallen victim to this tragic event." Now, scientists believe the rise in ocean temperatures are linked to the increased strength of hurricanes and tropical storms in recent years. As in August of 2012, Hurricane Isaac tore through the Gulf of Mexico into the U.S. Isaac killed 34 people and caused nearly $2.4 billion worth of damage. Later in the year, Hurricane Sandy hit the East Coast and killed 147 people while causing more than $75 billion worth of damage. Now, people on the East Coast suffer the consequences of hurricanes. Students here at USC are looking for ways to help fix climate issues. Let's go to Kristen Lago to find out. Kristen?
Thanks, Tommy. Solar power is known as one of the best ways to combat climate change. Solar energy is a renewable resource available everywhere. But here on campus, students are upset that USC isn't capitalizing on the sun.
This is the hour.
USC students need more energy.
What do we want? Solar.
Well, solar energy, that is. Members of the Environmental Corps organization gathered at Tommy Trojan today to ask the administration to install solar panels on campus.
And so what we're here to demand of the university right now, the use of renewable energy, solar power, these are all things that could mitigate these impending impacts of climate change.
The Environmental Corps launched the Go Solar campaign 3 years ago and have already gathered more than 800 signatures in support. Today, members of the organization looked for more help from the student body to reach their goal of a 10% solar initiative campus-wide.
USC, as a prestigious university here in Southern California, has the resources to make this change, and I definitely think that they should be doing that.
Executive Director of eCorps, Zach Manta, says the administration has not made energy conservation a priority and have been unresponsive to students' calls for change. Annenberg Media reached out to the Facilities Management Department on campus, but no one was available for comment.
The resources are absolutely there. What we've heard from the administration is statements like, "We're not concerned with being that university." Every university, in our opinion, should be concerned with being sustainable, forward-thinking, innovative, and a living laboratory for these sorts of technologies of the future.
Now, part of the Environmental Corps' plan of action includes installing solar panels on USC's largest roof, the Galen Center. They say costs would not be an issue for their project, as they're only asking for $1.6 million in funding. That's an average of 0.03% of USC's endowment.
The Environmental Corps specifically wears the advocacy/activism hat, where a lot of the other groups try to make it easier as a student to live a sustainable life at USC. We push for actual fundamental changes out of administration. The Go Solar campaign is our absolute cornerstone campaign.
And just moments ago, USC Sustainability Program Manager sent Annenberg Media an email saying USC is committed to reducing its environmental impact. The priorities are energy conservation and the reducing of greenhouse gas emissions. There was no mention of solar panels in that email. And members of the eCorps went on to deliver their proposal to President Nikias' office, but they weren't allowed inside. Manta says he and the fellow members of the organization will continue to protest until their demands are met.
And although there are steps that can be taken to limit the effects of climate change, experts say there is no solution to reverse the damage.
The real cure for global warming, of course, there is no cure. These gases have a very long residence time in the atmosphere. And even if we stopped cold turkey using fossil fuels, the planet would continue to warm for the next 100 years. So there's no stopping global warming. There's no reversing it. The real issue is how bad do we want to make it?
Despite climate change being irreversible, researchers from the U.S. Department of Energy have found a way to turn carbon dioxide into an energy source which could dramatically limit the effects of global warming.
Thanks, Tiffany. And with just 32 days until the presidential election, each candidate's environmental policy could play a significant role in how we deal with climate change. So where do the candidates stand? Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton lines up with her party's platform. As president, Secretary Clinton says she will focus on gathering renewable energy to power the nation's economy. This includes a goal of installing 500 million solar panels by the end of her first term. She also signed a next-gen climate pledge earlier this year to power at least half of the nation's energy needs with renewable sources by 2030. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump denies the existence of climate change entirely. Trump's stance on the issue is largely at odds with the scientific community. In his first 100 days as president, Trump says he will repeal carbon dioxide restrictions put in place by the Obama administration. He also supports the Keystone Pipeline project. Third-party candidates have also laid out their environmental policy goals. Libertarian presidential candidate Gary Johnson says he sees climate change as a threat and that we need to stand firm to protect our environment. As president, Johnson says he would support the Environmental Protection Agency, but believes government should have a limited role. Johnson sees protecting the environment as a personal choice for Americans. The Green Party's presidential candidate Joe Stein sees climate change as a, quote, all-out emergency. Stein's platform says she will transition the nation to 100% clean renewable energy by 2030. She also wants to dramatically expand the Obama administration's climate action plan. We asked USC students today what they thought of the candidates' positions.
I agree that it is an urgent issue that requires immediate action.
Climate change is not real. I don't think it happens. I mean, the weather here will never change.
If you take a look at oil price for the past 6 months, the price of oil is actually increased a lot. So it indicates that the demand for oil is still huge. So I don't think it's plausible to decrease the oil production because there is a demand.
I think it's somewhere between Clinton and what she said. Not as drastic, but definitely requires immediate action.
California leaders have taken steps to take care of the environment. In 2014, the state banned carry-out plastic bags and required customers to pay at least 10 cents for a paper or reusable bag. And now, this fall, Proposition 65 could do even more. Proposition 65 would see bag fees go to appropriate and worthy environmental objectives like drought mitigation, recycling, clean drinking water supplies, parks, beach cleanups, litter removal, and wildlife habitat restoration. Opponents to Proposition 65 say the proposition is just meant to divide grocers and the environmental community. Now let's go back to our Annenberg Media's Kaylee Heck live at the Microsoft Theater in downtown Los Angeles. Kaylee, how's it going?
Thanks, guys. I'm here live at the Microsoft Theater in downtown Los Angeles, and I am joined by Mike Babcock, who is a managing partner at a green building consulting firm. He's from the DC area, and he came to the Green Building International Conference here in Los Angeles. Now, Mike, tell us a little bit about how the work you do contributes to helping stop climate change.
Sure, yes. Being in the green building consulting world, energy efficiency world, basically what we do is we support projects, developments, and come up with ways to creatively save energy in buildings, account for them, look for return on investment to make the business case for sustainability and energy efficiency. It's kind of coming full circle now with not only the built environment, but it's now looking at the human experience within buildings, so things like wellness, health, how we're using things like internet to accelerate and more actively engage control over buildings and being more efficient.
That's great. And so talk to us a little bit about how the work you're doing now that you think will impact future generations.
So basically the paradigm shift and the understanding that resources are limited, right? So in that case, we basically either need to get more of it or use less of it. So it's a combination of both. So the idea of being more efficient with the resources we do have, water, energy, so that we're more effective, and it both makes a business case in terms of energy efficiency and things like that, but also it's better for the environment, so it affects all things considering supply chains, vendors, marketing, products, It's basically the idea for.
Thanks for watching See It Live. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Tiffany Brevard.
And I'm Tommy Brooksbank. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. The Current is coming up next.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
She doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
be nice. She's new. Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened? Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal.